Ladies and gentlemen, podcasting since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio with your hosts, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Pena, the always opinionated Paris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
All right, welcome to Gamertag Radio, episode 793. This is your host, Danny. And by the way, happy birthday to the Sega Dreamcast. Today, 19 years ago, the console came out. And I will never forget, I was in line, New York City, 34th Street and Broadway. That's where I got my Sega Dreamcast. And joining us this week, we have Paris. Paris, where were you? Where did you bought the Sega Dreamcast back in 1999?
That would be in a Toys R Us in San Diego is where I bought the Sega Dreamcast. And I remember getting NFL 2K. And God, I'm trying to remember the other game I got. I can't remember now. But just I saw when you tweeted that. And man, we don't have the modern online gaming that we have right now without the Sega Dreamcast. It is probably it is the most underrated console. Let me put it that way. It is the most underrated console of all time. It was doing things that other companies weren't doing for that time. It inspired Microsoft to create the Xbox and to create Xbox Live. It pushed Sony, to make the PlayStation 2 what it was. Dude, if they would have had the third-party support, more specifically EA, we may still be talking about Sega as a hardware company.
Yep, I agree. Totally agree. And also joining us is Pete. I know you said you never purchased a Sega Dreamcast.
That's correct.
Right?
That's correct. That was a dark period in Pete's life. We don't really have to go. We really don't have to go back into that time period. I was a DJ and I was all cut up in the club scene, and so video games had taken a hiatus in my personal life. And so at that point, yeah. There was no video games in Pete's life. I mean, I will say though, there were times where we would be playing like Super Nintendo and stuff like that. We'd be playing like GoldenEye or Mortal Kombat, stuff like that. But it was never on a Dreamcast. It was always on a Nintendo device of some form or fashion.
And honestly, I think at that time, I think Sega had one of the best TV commercials that I've ever seen for a console.
Yes.
Do you remember that one? That was the Japanese. This woman, she was like running, and they were after her, and she went. I think she was trying to steal a Sega Dreamcast. I think it was. But that commercial alone, back 19 years ago, was freaking amazing, and it was everywhere. MTV. This is when the MTV was at its peak. All over TV stations. It was awesome, man. Awesome time, man. Really cool. So yeah, just look it up. On YouTube, look up the Sega Dreamcast TV commercial. Yeah, from 1999. It was freaking amazing. And actually, I got 3 games at that time. It was Sonic Adventure. I got NFL 2K, and also Soul Calibur. All those 3 games I got. So, all right. So head over to gamertagradio.com. Post your comments and feedback. You also can subscribe and find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and Stitcher.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
We have a lot of things going on, man. There's so many freaking games that has been coming out for the past few days. More coming out this week and next week, and we're gonna try our best to talk as much as we can about different games. I'm gonna wait maybe until the next episode so I could talk a little bit more about NBA 2K19. But right now, I want us to focus on Spider-Man, Destiny 2 Forsaken, and so on. So let's start off with Spider-Man. I got it on Friday because I purchased it the physical copy, purchased it through Amazon, and wow, what a freaking game, man! I know we went to the PlayStation press conference, and we also had an opportunity to play the game. We couldn't because we went to another event, so I never got no hands on. I try my best not to read much about the game because I just really wanted to be surprised playing it for the first time, and I think I did a pretty good job with that. So, wow, dude, this game is so good, man, and of course, I'm gonna bring up Sunset Overdrive because it kind of I got that vibe with the open world design, but I think this one is it's way better design wise and much bigger than Sunset Overdrive. But your thoughts, guys, because I know you guys, this is the first time that you guys are getting the opportunity to play the game now finally for the first time. So what are your impressions so far? This is not a review, folks, not a review, but go ahead.
I have not played Spider-Man.
Oh, I'm in shock. Okay.
I think we all know why. I think we all know why I've not played Spider-Man, but I have not played it as of yet. That is on my next up list, which I probably will start Monday.
Okay. Pete,
Game of the year.
I know you've been playing Spider-Man now. Game of the year.
I'm gonna go there. And it's awkward that I say that because
too soon, but go ahead.
Early in the year, and I'm going to give my reasons for it. Early in the year, I actually said I don't think that Spider-Man could hold a title like that. I didn't think that. I thought it would be good, but I didn't think that Spider-Man as a video game would be this good. I haven't wanted to play PUBG. I haven't wanted to play Battlefield Open Beta. I haven't wanted to play anything else but Spider-Man. I've been fighting my son and my daughters to play the game where in and of itself, they all have their respective favorites. My daughter loves playing Overwatch. My son plays League of Legends and everything else. But we have all been crammed into this little room on that PlayStation over there to play Spider-Man. And we've all had our own individual moments of fun. And there was an awe moment. I'm not going to spoil it. I know I'm spoiler Pete, and I have my scumbag hat on maybe. But there's a moment near the beginning of the game where I just watched the screen and I was just like, I'm not spoiling it.
Don't do that, Skip. Don't do it, Skip.
I'm not spoiling it. I'm not spoiling it. And I had an awe moment. I was just like, okay, you got me. You got me, Marvel. You got me, Sony. I love this game. I'm not going to say it's the perfect game because it does have its little intricacies. The camera on occasion gets a little funky. The ability to seamlessly traverse that city and go from swinging to running. I know we've all seen the sizzle reels of watching someone who sat there for 3 hours and tried to perfect a specific move where they jumped through the window and stuff like that. But getting to personally have that experience and do that it's a miracle. I don't want to say it's a miracle, but it's awe-inspiring that in 2018 video games have gotten to the place now where we're able to see our childhood fantasies of being Superman or Spider-Man or whoever and seeing it play out on the screen. It's just amazing. So for me, right now, it's game of the year.
That's a very bold statement. I'm maybe
screw Dead Cells. I don't care what you say.
Wait. Wait. Hold on. I will say something like game of the year contender, but to say game of the year without even trying out Red Dead and these other games that's coming out.
I can't try Red Dead. That's why I said right now.
Yes, you can try.
When did I try Red Dead Redemption 2? When did I try that? Please enlighten me.
In a couple weeks, man.
Please enlighten me.
In a couple weeks, man.
When did I play it?
No, Pete. It's your opinion. It's fine. So I agree with you about the camera. There were certain situations that the camera gets a little bit funky. Of course, I agree. But I just love the fighting mechanics in the game. I love it when because I feel like the tutorial of the game. I don't know if it's an Insomniac thing, but usually when you start with a tutorial of any of their games. Like I think Sunset Overdrive, it was like a very long tutorial. I feel like kind of the same thing for this one too, but it helped me to learn a lot about the battling mechanics, traveling to another place, the stuff that I could find all over the city. Actually, there's one item in the game that kind of reminded me of Crackdown, like the orbs, but this time you're collecting backpacks all over the city. That I love doing that, man, because I'm taking my time, checking to see if there's any backpacks around the area. I've been doing a lot of that, and also like little side quests here and there. I've been doing that to the side missions. I really want to take my time. I don't want to like rush the story, but so far what I've seen, it looks incredible, man. The just the design, the voice acting is really, really on top, man. So good, so good. And it felt like I was watching an anime movie of Spider-Man. Do you feel the same way too, Pete?
Well, my wife came in and watched the game play for a little bit. She was like, "What are you doing? And why are you up at 1 a.m?" I'm like, "I'm playing Spider-Man. I'm in my personal space right now. Leave me alone." And she came in and she got stuck watching the screen because it looked that good. One of her things, she's like, "Is this a movie that I'm watching?" I'm like, "No, it's Spider-Man." People are gonna ask, because I think it's fair. It's a fair question. What is the gameplay like? And so over the last couple of days, I've heard a couple of different, variations of it, and I've built my own personal opinion on where or how you could best describe this game. I would say it's got the fighting mechanics of Arkham Knight, the open world traversal of Prototype. Actually, my son told me this last night. He's like, this is the game that Prototype should have been in the last generation. Mixed with, obviously, with Spider-Man. But I mean, if you wanted to take like bits and pieces of games and stuff like that, that's me personally. That's where I would say it's Prototype meets Batman Arkham Knight with a Spider-Man skin. That's stripping it down to its base levels, not to put anything past any other game or anything. I think that, I don't know, that's the best way to actively describe it. Now, if you've never played those two, there probably doesn't make any sense to you, but that's, for me, that's the easiest way to describe it.
Now, my question to you, Pete, because you're probably way farther than me in the game. The timeline of this is Peter Parker now older. He's probably finished college, you think? Or is it like during his college years? Like what?
He's already graduated college. And I know that just because of where I am in the game and some of the collectibles you pick up. Actually, in one of the backpacks, you're like, oh, okay. You see it. I don't want to spoil it. I don't think it's a plot spoiler, but I'm not going to talk about it.
It's not. It's not.
You'll pick up something and you'll see that he's already past college, but he's already fought a bunch of people. He's fought, so, and I'm trying not to get into that spoiler mode because of my excitement, and I'm getting hyped up about it.
The reason I'm asking you this, because I know the movie's coming out later this year, the animated movie from Sony Pictures. This comes out, I believe, sometime December. So I'm trying to figure out like the timeline between this game and that, because I think the movie, he's already way older now, right? For the movie version. Correct?
Into the Spider-Verse? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the one that comes out December.
Yes,
right?
But it's a totally different. I don't think that's Peter Parker.
No, Peter's
Peter
in
Parker. It's
Peter is in it.
Yeah, but Peter's he's much older. He's actually playing the mentor to the other Spider-Man.
Okay. Oh, you were gonna say something, Paris?
That's what I just said.
Okay.
What Pete just said. Peter Parker is into the Spider-Verse, but he's already an adult mentor to Miles Morales.
By the way, I gotta give a shout out to Greg Miller, because I was at his Kind of Funny Studios last week, and we were talking about shirtless Spider-Man. He's been promoting this for like months. And he's actually in the game, man, which is pretty cool. Like just walking around the city. I haven't found him yet, but it's cool that Insomniac made that move and put Greg Miller in there, man. That was pretty cool. Very, very cool. But yeah, dude, the game is pretty awesome. I know there's people now. They because you could download Spotify, the app, put it to your PlayStation 4, pick a song, and you could play music in the background while playing any games. So a lot of people have been putting like some 90s hip hop while playing Spider-Man. So that was pretty cool. A couple people already put up a Wu-Tang Clan to make it like the New York vibe while playing Spider-Man. So that's awesome.
That's cool.
Really cool, man. Yeah. But anything else, P? I know this is an impressions. It's not, not a review and stuff. But I think it's very challenging too. I found that some of the early boss battles, maybe I just got to get used to it, but it's very challenging. I like it. I like that. I like the challenge.
Oh yeah,
I can imagine later.
Most definitely. And I think the easiest way to get good, and I hate to use that term, the get good at this game is it's basically the same formula you'd see in other games. Do that first initial quest and then start just knocking out all the side quests. Get that experience up, get your maneuverability down, because that's going to be very, very key as you start to key in on bosses. And then from there, at that point is when it becomes second nature. But traversal of that city is so important, not just for, the main portion of the game where you're trying to get from area to area, but learning the traversal techniques and then learning how to basically air juggle your opponents makes the game that much more fun and enjoyable, not just to play, but to watch as well. Some of the maneuvers that that you get to see Spidey do in air, in combat, it's a fun game. And I'm thoroughly excited to have paid $60. And right now, as a result, I'm like, damn, do I want to get the DLC now? I mean, I'm maybe 20% into the game, but I'm like, yeah, okay, now I can, I'm like 20, yeah, I'm almost 20%. I'm like, yeah, I could see myself wanting to play the DLC because I'm having so much fun now. I can just imagine once you start incorporating, I think it's Black Cat and Silver Sable later on, which those aren't like unknowns. Those are already been announced, but the other DLCs are supposed to unleash other people. I would love to see Venom in there. I just don't know if we'll see Venom in this at all as a DLC option.
Now, have you been crafting a lot, like upgrading your outfit and everything? Or,
I have,
or not yet.
On my save, I have 8 suits. My son has 12.
Wow.
Yeah, we've been we even got down to this. I'm not going to even say which ones there are because you'll see them in game. They're so much fun. And the original Spider-Man suit from back in the early 60s. Seeing that thing come out where he's got the goggles, he's got the knee-high red socks. It's dope.
Now, how, for those that don't know much, and of course no spoilers, but how the outfit's been helping you in the later missions in the game, like how compared to like the older outfits that you have in the game.
So the original Spider-Man suit, obviously, you're not going to have any associated powers or abilities associated to them, but there are other ones that you get in game that will help you. Without going into massive detail, there's some that add to stealth. There's some that add to melee imperviability. There's some that help with speed and agility. So there's a bunch. I don't want to give them away. I want people to actually play the game, see them in action, because seeing some of these classic suits are really dope. There's some in there that are like, I don't recognize them so much. But there's some that are like, yeah, I can't wait to craft that.
That's dope. All right, so we definitely are going to talk about more about Spider-Man later on once we hopefully complete the game and stuff. So, and hopefully we'll wait for Paris to also get the game. And I want to get his thoughts too about it, man.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
So another game that I've been switching on and off with Spider-Man is Destiny 2 Forsaken. It just came out also a couple of days ago. And let's talk with the man himself, Paris. He's the expert of Destiny. Hello, Paris.
Hello. So yeah. Paris, I would rather start it this way. Since you're jumping back into Destiny and you've been playing, I want to hear what you think first before I go, because I'm literally probably going to talk for like 20 minutes. So I would rather hear you talk first.
I will start with what happened with my character. So when I started to play the game, I was stuck. I was like in level 25, so I couldn't really play Forsaken because you have to be level 30 in order for you to play the campaign. So what I did was I went to I think it was, what was the last expansion? Not the expansion, but like the DLC that came out before Forsaken.
Warmind.
Yeah, so I was playing that. I finished that. The campaign is very short, but it helped me level up quickly and so on. So now I started playing the campaign. Loving it. I'm truly loving it. I think the first mission, I'm not gonna lie, was kind of, I don't know if like emotional, but it was like, damn, I can see why people got really sad finishing the first mission. I don't want to say much because maybe there's people out there that probably want to play this for the first time, but that was really cool. I also tried out Gambit, and damn, like that mode is fun, man. That mode is so freaking fun. I already won my first game. I was still trying to figure it out, so I lost the first one. But now the past few games I've been playing now, I've been doing much better. We've been winning a lot of games too. And what I've been doing too is every mode they have like a challenge. I think like some of them a daily challenge, some of them weekly challenges. So, and it's great because I want to try to get like some legendary gear. So I've been doing that a lot lately. I don't want to rush the campaign. I'm taking my time with that. So right now I'm doing a lot of like adventure, side quests, and so on. Another thing that I like is that my character has been leveling up, and powers also is going a lot faster. There's so much stuff to do, and I haven't even really finished the campaign. So I can imagine once you finish the campaign, the stuff that you could do in there. So I'm very curious to see what they're planning to do with the raid for this one, because they learned from the past mistakes from the last the original Destiny 2. So I'm very curious to see what other plans are they going to make it more for like the hardcore or what. So, but so far, Paris, I'm really enjoying it, man. I'm not rushing it, taking my time with it, but I'm pretty far in the campaign, really, really far. So, but I'm liking it so far, man. It's a lot of fun.
That's good.
Gambit, Gambit good. is the best, hands down.
All right, so I'm actually glad to hear that you're enjoying it, but it's interesting. I've been obviously invested into this game since September of 2014, and here we are in year 4 of the Destiny experience, and you've been in and out that entire time. So it's very interesting to hear your perspective on it, and breaking the fourth wall, kind of seeing some of the comments on our Twitch chat with people being disappointed with them spoiling that Cade 6 dies. I actually don't think that was that big of a deal, because it's not about Cade dying. Was just your gateway into this world with Uldren and the Reef and the Tangled Shore, and now eventually the Dreaming City. It's actually not about the campaign. The campaign is pretty short experience. It's about everything that happens after that. As Doctor Strange says, we're in the end game now. It's all about that end game. It's the thing that I've been screaming from the rooftops that I'm so concerned about Anthem is, what the hell is your end game? Destiny 2 a year ago took a step back from everything that they built with Destiny 1. Where we left off with Rise of Iron, they took a step back in year 1 with Destiny 2. I feel like with what I've played so far in Forsaken, this is what I wanted a year ago. This is everything I wanted Bungie to do with Destiny moving forward. They've changed the sandbox in a way that, with the weapon slot changes, they've updated the economy system, like with infusion now. It's very expensive now to infuse a weapon. I've actually not infused anything yet because I'm waiting till I get to a higher power level before I do things like that. But that's a good thing. I love that they've mixed in the weekly and daily challenges. So every day that you log in, there's something new to do, which is great. It gives you something to chase. It gives you something to do. all the masterwork items now with the weapons. Again, something else that you can chase. All the, the bounties, the quests, just everything they've done now, be it you're a casual person or you're a hardcore person, there's something in there for you, for your skill set, for your skill level. And what Danny mentioned with Gambit, that is the mode. That is the icing on the cake for what Destiny 2 is. I'm telling you right now, it's, they do a competitive mode in PvP. Trials they've actually put on ice for right now. Gambit is going to be the thing that is going to push competitive Destiny into the mainstream for esports. I'm telling you right now that's going to happen. I have not had so much fun with a mode in such a long time. Like yesterday, I was playing with Khalif and K-Dub and my son, K-Dub from Guardian Radio, and my son. We were playing Gambit yesterday. And ironically enough, K-Dub just wanted to grab a couple bounties and finish them up. I was like, okay, we'll jump in, play a couple matches. Yo, we went on seemed like a 12-game winning streak. I was all in, and we just were rolling. We're like, let's just keep it going. We just playing. Mm-hmm. The advanced strategies that are starting to formulate now with Gambit is phenomenal, because you don't have to be this PvP ace to contribute. You can be the guy that just does the shooting to get the motes. And then I could be the guy that runs to go get them. And then you build up the strategy. Like I said, I'm not going to try and get too in depth on this, but there's different layers to what you have to do on when you should bank your motes, when you should go invade, or that panic moment. Like I tweeted out, and it kind of went viral a little bit. I was like, you don't want to be that guy holding 14 motes and all of a sudden they sent blockers and they invade. You're like, oh my God, I don't want to lose this. The absolute worst feeling in the world is losing like 15 motes. You don't want to do that. I swear to God, I just want to turn off the PlayStation and just throw it in the trash when that happens, because I feel so bad.
Sets you so bad
when that happens.
Sets you so
oh
bad.
My God. Yeah. But it gets so intense when the primevals are up and you're trying to melt yours. They're sending invaders over, and then you're sending an invader over to them, because if you kill a guardian, it heals the health to the primeval. So we've had moments where they've gotten to their 75 motes and they've spawned their primeval and say, we're at 30 motes. And, you're just sending an invader over waves. And if you're getting those kills during that, it doesn't let them kill their primeval. It gives you a chance to catch up. And there's a whole back and forth to it. I'm telling you guys right now, I swear to God, Elgato still hasn't sent me my streaming card, because when they do, I will be streaming Gambit all freaking day. All day. And that was the funny thing. Like, I was quote unquote taking my time with the campaign because I was just playing Gambit the whole time. And now I've finished the campaign now, and I've gone on to the Dreaming City, and oh my God, is there so much to do in the Dreaming City in the end game. And I've barely scratched the surface with that stuff. I've been playing the Blind Well, doing that. That's kind of like their horde mode, similar to what Escalation Protocol was in Warmind. Having a blast with that. There's weekly and daily bounties in the Dreaming City that you can do. There's all these little secret quests and items that you can find in there. And here's the thing about the Dreaming City, and this is early days. It is freaking hard. It is not a game. It is rough in them Dreaming City streets. Let me tell you right now, because everything in there is at a high level. I'm talking like 525, 45, 80 power level. So you're getting one-shotted when you first get in there. Now I'm like about 512 power right now. So, it's not as bad. But I can tell you right now, and this is why I love Destiny, one of the best moments I've had playing Destiny in the last 4 years happened last night, because I was doing a bounty. I needed to get 3 heroic public events. And I got 2 because there was people around. I jump in, got 2. But then there was one. It was just me and this one other dude, random guy. Don't know him. We're not communicating. The only way we could communicate is between emotes. And we're like, let's fire off the public event. I'm actually thinking, hopefully some people join. We won't complete it. Yo, me and this dude jumped on the struggle bus and 2-manned the heroic public event. It was so sweaty and just so epic that when we finally melted that boss with like 5 seconds to go and got the heroic public event, and we just looked at each other. I waved at him, he waved at me, and I'm like, that's Destiny right there. two people that don't even know each other working together as one to accomplish, a high level type activity. Now, Dream City will get easier as our power level goes up, but basically what Bungie has done is there really isn't a grind to go from 385 up to 400 or 500, I should say. They make it pretty easy, blues, all that kind of stuff. But once you hit 500, that's the soft cap. That's where you have to, like Danny was talking about, you have to start doing your daily challenges and the bounties to get the powerful engrams. The Dreaming City obviously is going to give you a power boost when you accomplish some things in there. And the raid isn't until next Friday, isn't until September 10th, I believe that's the date on it. And we have absolutely no idea what it's going to be, other than they basically promised it's going to have the most boss encounters ever in a Destiny raid, which if you go back to what they did with Spire of Stars, which was the raid lair in Destiny 2 for year one of Leviathan, it was too mechanic heavy, in my opinion. And it wasn't really that fun of the boss. I think King's Fall had the nice balance of heavy mechanics along with boss encounters. And if they can kind of get back to that, especially like with Axis at the final boss in Wrath and Machine, if they can kind of do those things, put in the mechanics, but you have this big boss that you're taking down, and they have more of those in this raid, I'll be very excited for it. Again, and I'm trying to not ramble on forever about this, but I won't spoil what happens at the end of the campaign with the story, with the whole revenge tale, with Cade 6 and Aldrin. But I will say this. I did not like the ending to the campaign. And I think it's a personal thing. I know a lot of people like it, but it's a personal thing with me. Without spoiling anything, I wish they would have made a different choice. And I'll leave it at that. But at the same time, I understand why they did the choice and the ramifications of that choice. And you will already see that once you get into the end game and you start talking to some of the NPC characters. The ramifications of what happens with that actually sets up Destiny to go to an even bigger level as far as the storytelling goes. And I think it creates an interesting scenario. I just personally wish they would have done something else at the end. But that's just me. I'll talk about it later when it's safe to talk about spoilers and that kind of stuff. But overall, this is the best that Destiny has ever been with where we sit right now with Forsaken, because like I said, I feel like the sandbox is in a very good place. Adding that Gambit mode allows hardcore PvP people, hardcore PvE people to come together and work together in a single mode. And I think that's what's going to allow, Destiny to actually become an esport down the road. Actually, one of the DLCs that come with the annual pass, I believe in the string, is literally dedicated to the Drifter, which is kind of the host of Gambit. So I think at that point they're going to feel that's where they're going to evolve what Gambit is. And like I said, I'm very excited for it. It's funny. I've really only played PvP just barely a little bit because I'd rather go play Gambit. And right. I'm already, I think, at Fabled mode as far as ranking up in Gambit. That's how much I've been playing it already. So very happy with that. Like I said, once you get to that Dreaming City, man, that's the end game. They literally they built that space for the end game. And that's what I'm talking about with these looter shooter type of games is you have to have a dedicated end game for the hardcore player. That's why, again, I'm pulling Anthem into it. I'm very concerned for Anthem because there's zero sign that they have anything close to that. Obviously, with the Division, we saw the evolution of that 1.8 update where their end game is. I'm very happy with their end game in the Division 1, and they've already promised to carry that forward into the Division 2. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. But Destiny is in a very good place right now. I'm very happy with it. Like so much so, if you've been on my timeline this whole week, you can see how happy I've been with the game. And I do it unabashedly because I really don't care if you don't like that I like this game, then why the hell are you following me? I literally had people roll up in my timeline and tell me, stop tweeting so much about Destiny. Sorry, no, I am, because I love that game. I've never hidden the fact that I love that game. I'm obviously very invested into that community. That won't change because it's something that I get to share with my son. That's, if anything, that's been the best thing about this week is my son and I playing together. Instead of him on Fortnite all freaking day, we've been playing Destiny together and we've been having fun together. And that's the whole point of it. Be it one of your kids, your friends, or whatever, getting a group of people together and having fun in a social game like this is fantastic. And they kind of stole that joy away from us a year ago. Destiny was in a very dark place about 9 months ago. It really was. Like, I was very concerned for the long-term health of that game. I'm sure there were some dark days up there in Bellevue, Washington, trying to figure out what can they do to fix it. They brought in the community, having that community summit, got real feedback from them on some things, and, they fixed it. It took a year, which, look, finger shame at them. We never should have gone backwards in the first place, but they fixed the game. It is in such a good spot right now that I encourage anyone that is on the fence, give it a shot. If PlayStation Plus, you can play the base game for free. You make up your own mind if it's worth it for you, because it's not for everyone. I get that. But once you get invested in it, you can have so much fun in that sandbox that they've created with Destiny. And like I said, I still can't believe it's year 4. And I am just as excited now as I was when I threw my wallet at that screen back at E3 when I first played that first. Speaking of, they have a strike, which is, I won't spoil anything, but basically you return to the Prison of Elders. Best strike they've ever done in 4 years. It is like an epic adventure, and I love the mechanics that they put into it. I love the nostalgia that they put into it, but it is fun as hell. And even when I did it the first time, I was like, I don't know, maybe I was like 480 or something like that, and it was a 500 strike. Brutal with Void Burn and all that. Oh my God, me and the other 2 dudes were playing. We got to that boss, and it was a mission to complete it. But that was fun as hell to me. That's what I love, and I'm excited for the future of it. Obviously, I'll talk about it more coming up here. I think we're gonna get Deej soonish. Ooh. Probably, post raid and all that. I have to reach out to him again, but he definitely said, let me come on after you've actually played it, so then we can have a real conversation about it instead of just, hey, Forsaken, it's going to be great. So very excited for that. Like I said, loving it. I need to go play Spider-Man. Like I said, I even tweeted out this week that this has been a very happy week because you can just the timeline, instead of all the toxic negative BS that you've been seeing, on social media, everyone's excited about some game. Be it Spider-Man, be it Destiny, be it Dead Cells, be it NBA 2K19, be it Madden, the Call of Duty Blackout trailer that came out so people actually can see, and we're getting real details about that. People are excited about gaming, and that's what it should be. Be happy. Yep. Instead all this negative nonsense and worrying about stuff. There's enough negativity in the world as it is. Be excited about gaming. I'm 44 years old, and I, without shame, am proud to say that I'm a gamer, and I love gaming, and I just love everything that comes with it because there's something for everyone if they so choose. You know what I'm saying? Instead of worrying about what console you're playing on and who has the DLC for that and cross saves and all that nonsense. Pick your platform, pick the game that you love, and just enjoy it. Period. That's it.
Yep. Exactly. You know what, Paris, I want to take this to a step further too with Gambit. I feel like I'll put Gambit up there with how Horde change gaming in a way. Warzone for Halo, Horde for Gears of War. I feel like Gambit should be up there too, man, because Gambit is something that completely changed Destiny multiplayer wise, man. So I'll put it up there with that, man. Another thing too I wanted to say about Cade is I think it would have been more powerful if people didn't know anything about it and they played Destiny Forsaken for the first time and they see what happened to the character in the beginning instead of Bungie using that as a way to market the game, because it reminds me of how, like, let's take it back to like Final Fantasy VII. One of the characters dies when you play that, right? And it was an emotional thing for everybody that was playing the game. They're like, oh my God, it was a moment that we didn't even know because Square Enix never promoted that at that time. And there was other games too that, like let's say the Gears of War, a character there that a lot of people care about dies, right? But Microsoft never promoted that as a marketing thing. So if Bungie would have kept this on the low and people play this for the first time, Paris, and they find out what happened, I think it would have been a very powerful moment in the Destiny community, even more than finding out that you already know what's gonna happen in the game. You know what I'm trying to say?
I know what you're saying, but they couldn't do that, and here's why. They screwed up Destiny year one. Your Destiny 2 year one. They screwed it up so that they had to get people to come back. If Destiny 2 was in a great spot going into Forsaken, 100% agree. Hide that Cade 6 is dying. Don't let anyone know. But because people had left, there was a lot of just bad will in the community going on right now. They had to let you know that, look, this is not a game. We are dead serious. We're killing Cade. He ain't coming back. And here's why. And here's what's going on, to let you know that they're taking Destiny 2 in a different direction from where it currently was. So, yes, because and again, I've talked about this in the past, because Cade 6 is the only character in that game that people cared about, right? That, he was the most recognizable character in the game. So you're telling the whole community, we're going to take away the most popular character, and you're going to at the end be okay with that, because that's what happens by the end. By the end, you've already come to grips that Cade 6 is gone and that we have to move on from that. And like I said, they're setting up something post Cade that I think is actually very exciting. So I was okay with it. I understand why some people would have wanted it to be a surprise, but I just think the state of the game, they could not go that direction. They had to do something drastic, and they had to do it in the marketing to let people know that we're taking this game in a new direction.
Again, I disagree, because it's like the fans complained.
Let me ask you this question. Wait. No. Hold on. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question before you continue.
Okay.
If they would have just said, hey, Forsaken, we're going to go to the Dreaming City, and that's all you knew going into this, and with the state of the game, with all the nonsense that had been happening in year one, what would have been your incentive to want to go pick up Forsaken? What would have been the carrot that would have gotten you excited to want to go play? That's like a legit question I would ask anyone. What would have made you excited to play Forsaken if you didn't know Cade 6 died?
So it's the end game. It was all about the end game, because that's what people complained about. People were not complaining about the characters or the story. They were complaining about, okay, I'm done with the campaign. What I'm going to do next? That's what people were complaining. So for me, yes, I'm not a hardcore Destiny guy like other people that listen to the show, but I think promote more about the end game content. Promote Gambit way more than Cade, in my opinion. I think that would have been good, and keep the whole campaign as a surprise. Because to me, companies promoting stories like too much, I feel like you're giving away too much spoilers for the fans. It's like when you watch a trailer, Paris, and you already seen everything that's in the movie in that trailer. What is the point of you going to the movies to watch that movie? It's better to keep everything as a surprise and promote the stuff that people complained about, instead of, hey, Cade died. To me, it's like a clickbait thing. Like, well, people are going to come back because they want to know what's going to happen next.
All right, well, let me ask you this. So you keep it a secret. We know social media, some a-hole, aka scumbag Pete, would spoil that Cade 6 dies 2 days after the launch of the game. So you'd know he dies anyways.
Paris, but that's in every other game. Every big
but that's
game
my point.
That came out in the past.
But that's my point. Instead of them, because trust me, there is something in the game that is surprising. You've not gotten to it yet. But instead of using that as the big surprise, which would have got spoiled anyways, they just said, let's get out in front of it. Let's use it as a tool to let people know, hey, come back to Destiny 2. Again, I'm not trying to sword and shield Bungie, because I get your point. Trust me, I get your point 100%. I'm just saying, if I'm Bungie, people are leaving my game in droves. What is something I can do to get people's attention to come back? And I think that's why they did that.
I don't know. Personally, I'm not a fan of that, but whatever. See, like with Spider-Man, the thing that I love about playing this game is I don't know jack. I don't know nothing about the game. Like, usually when we go to events, we go to the event, we play maybe like a couple hours of that game, and once we get home and the game comes out, right, and we have to replay that again, it's just like, damn, it's like a spoiler, man. I already know what's going on. But the thing with Spider-Man, I had zero clue about that. Pete, you with me right here, man? We never played the game. We never played the game at E3. I wanted to keep that game as a surprise. And dude, there's some moments that I was like, wow, my mouth is open, man, because it's so much fun. The story, there's a couple surprises, and still early in the game. I like that, man. Instead of knowing what's gonna happen when I'm playing the game. I don't know. I'm not a fan of that.
But I see both sides, and I've been quiet for like the last 30 minutes because it's been Destiny Talk Radio, which is a shock.
Yeah. But about Spider-Man there.
But no. I see both sides. You want to encourage your player base to come in, whether they're people who have fallen out of favor for the title or people that are the hardcore that are there waiting on bated breath on everything that comes out, whether it be the website, the Twitter, etc. Right? So you want to placate all of the player base. You want to be able to encourage the people to come back to play, whether it be for PvP or PvE. I think the decision to bring Cade to bring Cade's story to light and what happens to him before the game launches was something to encourage the PvE players to come back, because Cade 6 really has nothing to do with the PvP. Right? So you're giving a reason. Hey, if we're gonna use references, people knew the snap was coming.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good way to put it.
People knew it was coming.
Yeah.
People knew it was going to happen. Whether you were a hardcore comic book fan or you were on the periphery, you knew what it was. You knew what was coming. So you could play both sides of the fence. It really doesn't make a difference. At the end of the day, kudos to Bungie and Activision for dropping a what appear. I can't speak from personal experience because I've fallen out of favor on Destiny. And it is what it is. But congrats. Mm-hmm. I said this a couple of weeks ago when it first came out that it needs to succeed. And it's done extremely well as a result. So kudos to them. Gambit looks like something that is definitely esports ready. I know Paris mentioned something about in the season pass there is something else, but I think Gambit as a title or as a mode itself could legitimately be an esports game, period. Watching that pre-launch on Bungie's Twitch channel got me open. Like I don't know if it's something that I would play, but it's definitely something that I could watch because it's not that
right
difficult to pick up. It's not that difficult to pick up. Just it's not like something where you're watching like League of Legends, where if you don't understand the Drakes and the Barons and all the other things going on in the game, you have zero clue. I've watched I don't want to say a lot of League of Legends, but I still don't understand all the aspects of it. I can watch it with my son, and my son knows he can anticipate things. With something like Gambit, you don't have to understand everything. Like Perry said, you can just be the PvE guy and just go after blockers. You can just go and collect motes, and then at the end, it's just competition and communication. Hey, I'm banking motes. I got 5. Okay, cover me. I'm going in to bank. And then, boom. That's the part that you could definitely see a 5-on-5, 5 on a wall, and go to a stadium and watch them do that.
Let me put it to you this way. First of all, I think, Pete, this is absolutely right up your alley. I think you would really enjoy it if you jump in and played it. Secondly, yeah, this is tailor-made for esports. I totally can see doing the split screen so you can have a POV from both teams' point of view, so you can see how things are going down. Like to see someone, the call out for someone to invade on one screen and then go over to the second screen and actually see them invading on the other side from the other team's point of view would be a great thing. Like you said, it is easy to pick up. It is hard to master. I've seen the drastic difference of having a 4-man team where we're all communicating as one, and we literally are crushing the other side because they're, not a 4-man team. We're like, we beat someone 75-6 yesterday. You know what I'm saying? We were beating people like we crushed them so bad in round one, they just quit, right? Versus then, oh crap, they just got, they're sitting on his blockers, crap. They're a 4-man team. They're communicating. You can tell just by the way things are coordinated. Like we were getting cocky at one point because we were beating people so bad. And then another 4-man team rolled in and they had their communication going and their strategy going like, oh crap, we got to put in some work here. Hold on. You know what I'm saying? So that right there shows me that, yep, this absolutely can be an esport. And just because the way, like I said, again, the way you coordinate when to put in your blockers, when to send someone over to invade, when to use your supers, to coordinate. Like I got it. If you go on my timeline right now, I have a video up where K-Dub runs over and hits melting point on the boss. And as soon as he calls that out, I go perfect. And I drop my Titan super on him immediately. It's the new super where it's just the arc blast and you fly across the screen like Superman. And I hit the boss and I take a third of his health away immediately and we win. You know what I'm saying? It's stuff like that. Those are those wow moments in there. Like I said, there's so many moments when someone invades and you're trying to find them, your head's on a swivel because you got to find out where he is, or when you go over invade and you have to get 2 or 3 kills because if you don't, you're going to lose. It's stuff like that, man, that makes that mode so much damn fun. And I'm telling you right now, and going back to what Pete was saying, yes, the Drifter, which, by the way, our friend over at Ubisoft absolutely needs to cosplay that guy because he is freaking perfect for it. But they called it Joker's Wild, which is going to focus on the Drifter, which, again, going to the story and the lore, there's definitely more to him than meets the eye. Like, I actually think he's a bad guy, but you guys can figure it out for yourself when you jump into and play Gambit for yourself and see. But they're going to have that mode that focuses on him in the spring. And I think, like I said, that's when they're going to try and push this as an esport, I think, because there's definitely some evolution they can do to Gambit to make it even more fun and more competitive. So I'm very excited for it.
All right, so just a couple of days ago, I was in San Francisco because I got to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I recorded an interview at the event. So we're going to play right now, and we'll be right back after this.
This is Gamertag Radio. Voicemail at 786-2737-GTR.
All right, so we're checking out the new Assassin's Creed, and we have you want to present yourself, please? And
sure,
we'll go from there?
My name is Scott Phillips. I'm the game director on Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
All right, and you?
I'm Mel McCoubrey, and I'm the narrative director on Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I'm also narrator.
Yeah,
I narrate the entire game.
Oh, imagine.
It's awful.
You seem very hyped today, very excited. The game is coming out in a couple weeks, right? So tell us a little bit about the difference between this Assassin's Creed and the previous ones, for those that don't know much about the game.
Yeah. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey is set in ancient Greece. Our sort of big changes that players can expect is to see a full-on role-playing game, a full-on RPG with choice at the center of that experience. So you're going to have dialogues, you're going to have choices to make, and you're going to see the consequences of those choices, both the small, medium, and large, that change whole storylines and how they proceed. You're going to have full seamless open world naval back in the experience, at the core of the experience. As fans of Black Flag, we'll be happy to see that with our sort of in our time period, because we're not obviously shooting cannons in 430 BC. So you're using ramming ships and arrows and javelins and all that sort of stuff. And I think it's also just we're building on top of the improved fight from Assassin's Creed Origins and bringing a whole new level with special abilities that allow players to really customize their experience for their play style and what they would like to do, and then their gear as well. So it's really just a full package, an amazing, awesome experience.
Yeah, I know during your presentation you said choice a lot.
Choice.
Very important in the game. So,
That's a good word.
what is so important about making the decision during the game? Like, is that going to affect like the story? Is it going to unlock any new missions or?
So, like Scott was saying, we have choices that are short, medium, and long-term choices. So you will be making changes, or you might be making choices that have behavioral impacts on characters. Your relationship with the character can change based on like a personality-based role play choice that you make. You can also have choices that have delayed consequences, so you may not understand clearly that the choice you're making will have a direct consequence, and it comes around later. Like, I'm not sure if you played our E3 demo.
No, I didn't.
There's a cool example of that in the E3 demo where somebody you talk to through a different quest giver that doesn't seem related to the main quest line comes in at the end again if you end up sparing him, and it's pretty cool. Okay. So there's those kind of choices, and then there's long-term choices and medium-term choices that come out of a succession of choices that you make along the way. So in terms of the hero's journey or the Odyssey quest that we were talking about earlier, you will be making choices along the way that impact your ending, and then we do have multiple endings for the personal storyline, which I'm pretty excited about. I mean, some people think like multiple endings means like in one version I'm on Earth and the other version I'm on the moon. It's not quite that, but for us it's a big deal to have multiple endings because it's the first time, and they're all kind of really cool to explore. So
yeah, one of the choices popped up. It had like a heart. I didn't pick it because I didn't know what was that about. But can you explain what's that?
So
I missed it very quick while playing the game.
Where are you right now, by the way?
I'm in the second chapter, I think it is. Yeah, the Megaris. Yes.
So if you have some time today and you take a little gander around, you may find that person again.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that's important.
And you may be able to look into that heart thing, that mysterious heart thing. Well, we wanted to include romance in the game. And in the past, for Assassin's Creed, romance has been part of the main story. But because this is an experience based on choice, we didn't want to force one specific romance. So we decided to go with choice-based romance. I was very hesitant to include it at first because a lot of times in games, romance is depicted like, here are a bunch of items, please love me. Or here's a heart, I'm going to click it until eventually we kiss. So including choice-based romance for us was a very experimental and new thing. So we have a handful of those that you can find around the world. And we made the romance role play happen. So if you choose the heart, that means you're initiating flirtation.
Okay.
So that
That's how I describe it too.
yeah, in real life, I'm really good at relationship advice. So you initiate flirtation by clicking the heart every day. And then we take you to a separate romance hub so that there are different options on screen for how you can talk to somebody, and it depends on the character you're talking to and how they like to be spoken to and how they respond. That will tell you if you're successful or not. Not all of the options are successful, but that's kind of where we were going with that.
See, because of your go for it.
So for me, one of the things high level, the idea of why romance is important is typically Assassin's Creed is just here's your target, go kill your target, you killed your target, yay. And for me, I think trying to build a role playing game, a full experience, a world that you want to spend time in, characters you want to spend time in, is that you have to touch other aspects of humanity than murder. And so I think giving players more connection to the people around them is a really strong way to make you want to spend more time in that universe with those characters.
Yeah, because of your presentation, I decided to go with Cassandra instead of, what was the name of the other character? Alexios, yeah. So I went with her, and man, she's a badass. I like her a lot.
Thank you.
Have you been checking to see how many people have been choosing which character? And
We're always very interested in
you're
that.
like, I wonder why. Okay,
so we check with that. We check with playtests, and I think in general we found it's close to 50-50. So I think that speaks well of both characters and how interested players are in having their own choice of who they play as.
Now, once the game comes out, right? Is there a way for the team to find out? More people are choosing Cassandra, like behind the scenes? Can you tell?
Yeah, we'll have some data and we'll get some idea of how people played, and I'm sure we'll release one of those big sheets of stats for the game, and so the community can take a look at how they've been playing the game.
Yeah, and so how the story changes between if you don't choose the other character, is that the same story or
so
or minor changes?
Alexios and Cassandra are the same character.
Okay.
So it's really just based on who you want to play as a player. If you're choosing somebody who you think looks cooler, whoever looks cooler to you, you pick that. Or if you wanted to play somebody like closer to you, like I don't know, if you're like, oh, I identify more with Alexios, so I want to play with him. It's really up to you, and then the choices you make on your journey, that's what defines your experience.
Yeah, and like your experience so far working on the game, because it's been 3 years? You guys been working on this, so how's it been the experience, man? Like, because this is a totally different vibe compared to like the previous.
For me, it's been super exciting because I think working on a big open world, like a full RPG, is something I've really wanted to do for a long, long time. So getting to have dialogues and dialogue choices and these deeper interactions with the world is something I'm super happy with. And then, and then just mechanically, I think the game is a lot of fun. Like, we still play it. I've played it many times already, and I'm still looking forward to playing it at home. And that's something that I'm really happy to hear from some of the dev team as well, people that I haven't talked to in a while. And I asked them, like, Are you going to play this at home? Like, you've probably played it a bunch, and they're all super excited to play it at home, which is a great sign for us.
Yeah, for sure. For me, I'm a huge historical fiction nerd, and so having the ability to have branching dialogue and get to know these characters even more so than we have had the opportunity in the past. Like, I've worked on Assassin's Creed before. I've written historical characters, and being able to do deep dives into characters because they have to be able to respond differently based on the choices you're making. You can impact your relationship with somebody, and so they can, act very differently towards you. You have to know these characters inside out, and so being able to spend so much time with characters like Socrates, for example, and then you're like in a script review and you've just spent days with Socrates scripts, and you come out and you're like, I am Socrates. Like, it's a lot of fun.
Was there any books, movies that inspired you guys to, like, you know what, we should add this in the game?
For my part and for the writing team, we took a lot of inspiration from the works that existed at the time. There's a huge wealth of literature, plays, poetry, historical writings that existed at the time, and that was hugely inspirational for us. Looking at Homer's Odyssey, the namesake, and works by Plato, works by Herodotus' histories, plays like Oedipus Rex, Lysistrata. They're a lot of the myths. They are these crazy, like, eccentric, amazing stories, and we wanted to be able to represent as many of those as we possibly could, and that really helped shape the stories that you will encounter in the world.
And you?
Yeah, I think one of the first things that usually comes to mind is movies, since those are the most, widely seen art form nowadays. But seeing how people might perceive Spartans and Athenians is really interesting. And so that's a fantasy we needed to deliver on in the game. So modern movies on that. But even if you look back, like the story of Thermopylae in the 300 is, it's 2,500 years old. But people have been writing about it and writing stories and writing movies about it for much, much longer than just the past 5 or 10 years. But I think books like the Iliad and the Odyssey, the works of Herodotus, who's the first historian, and there's a lot of people wrote about Greeks, and it's always funny to see. If you read things from Athens and they talk about the Spartans, they don't really know the Spartans that well, but they're terribly afraid of them, and so they portray them as like demons and monsters. So it's interesting to try to put all of that in perspective and then show it back to the player of what these people thought about each other.
Sure. And like the writers and stuff are so eccentric and fantastic, and I love them. Like, you're reading Herodotus' histories, and he's talking about the Persian Wars and coming back from Egypt and exploring different cultures and like what makes them relevant and cool. And then all of a sudden he's talking about giant ants, and you're like, yeah, okay.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I got to see it at E3, the trailer, and I was like, oh man, is that a new Assassin's Creed? That was fast, But playing it now here for a couple hours, I really enjoyed the game, and I think people should give it a chance and try it out because the story is really good so far. I'm having a blast. Yeah, really good. And let me tell you, the first chapter, I thought it was already like in the game, like it already started, but then there was a part that the credits started rolling. Like, that was the intro? My God, that was pretty long. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. You reach the end of Kefalonia, you see the Ubisoft Presents.
Yeah, I was like, no way, this is the intro? Wow.
It feels like an Odyssey because it is. The game is huge.
Huge. I mean, like, what is it that you want people to learn from this game once they try it out finally when it comes out in a couple of weeks?
Learn from it. I think it's really cool to learn about like why characters like Socrates and Hippocrates are important, why the things that these people thought 2,500 years ago are still really relevant today and are still topics and discussions that we're having now. I think the story that we tell is a core family story. Like you don't need to know much about Greece or anything like that to really understand why your character cares about something. And I think it's something that it grabs the player. And then we also get to explore great stuff with the first civilization and the lore and the mythology of this time period and its connections to Assassin's Creed and to the lore that we have with Assassin's Creed are really, really strong. So I think it's a really exciting game.
Based on your choices, based on your choices you make in the game, also the civilians might treat you differently, or not really, or
one thing is since we're set 400 years before Assassin's Creed Origins, there is no Assassin's Brotherhood. You're not a member of an order that has certain creed that you must follow. So you as the player can choose to kill civilians. You can choose to kill animals and burn things down and destroy ships and all that. And we needed to have some way to respond to that. The world needs to be dynamic and react to that. So that's why we have a bounty system that mercenaries will come hunt you. If someone sees you kill their pig, they might come over and try and attack you. And they might also put a bounty on you. Those mercenaries will come and hunt you down across the world and really make the world feel alive and dynamic rather than just being something that we applied on top of it as oh no, your ancestor didn't do that. We wanted it to be more in the world, how that reaction occurs.
And what happened if I'm always lying?
Well, different outcomes for different people. Like I said before, it really depends on the context of the quest that you're in, the person that you're talking to, and how they respond to that. Some lies get you into a whole lot of trouble, and some don't. You can get away with them, and then there's something else that happens later. But yeah, you can alter relationships with some characters based on how you talk to them as well.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up pretty soon. But like for you, when you play the game, like your choices, what is more like, man, I feel bad, I feel sorry for the civilian, let me just try to help him out, or you're more like, let me just lie straight up, or like how is your are you brutal? Yeah. Like how is your choices in the game for you guys?
Straight up murderer.
Oh
no, I'm not.
Assassin.
I am when I'm playing at work because I'm kind of trying to save the way that I really want to play for home. So I'm testing all of the things that I wouldn't normally do. But I'm one of those like terrible people who believes that like friendship is the answer. So I'm like, I like to make people happy, and sometimes you got to make the tough decisions. I don't know. One of the cool things for me is I am, an emotional person, and then we have some fairly like emotionally charged moments, and so I like to sit back and think like, oh, if I didn't know what was going to happen, what would I choose? And I'm actually like really, really excited to see what avenues players go down and how they respond to the consequences of their choices, because there's some really cool stuff, and I'm so excited.
There's one part, I'm not going to say what happened, but there was one part that I actually feel bad for like some civilians that I met, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to help them out, like based on the conversation we were having. So yeah, you're right. And what about you? Like how's your choices?
I'm sort of the same where I'll play a little more devious and
laughs.
Yeah, to show off and more just to I like to put on a bit of a show when I do a demo or when I do a review in front of an audience. I want to put on a bit of a show, but then I always feel bad about playing in that sort of negative way. So at home, I'm always the hero, and I want to be the best I can be. And like when I think for a couple months ago, the creative director and I were going to start off a play session of the full game. And so we set out like, okay, I'm going to play as this and I'm going to make these sorts of choices. And I made sure to get in there quick and say like, okay, I'm going to play as more of the good guy. And so that he had to play as the bad guy. So.
Angry Cassandra or something who was proficient in ranged weapons or something.
Very quick, the dialogue. How many hours is it? 30, 40 hours in total?
Of the in-camera interactive cinematic storytelling, yeah, it's over 30 hours.
So how was it getting the right people to do the voices for the, especially like the main characters in the game? Because so far it's been Cassandra's really good. Whoever's did that one, really good.
I'm glad. Well, we do. We put a lot of effort into casting. We cast people from all over the world. We have some really, really amazing Greek talent from Greece as well on this, and it's been incredible. When it comes to casting protagonists, especially knowing that we were going to have two people who played the same character. They give their own flavor to it, of course, but we do chemistry tests to see if they seem compatible with each other so that they can bring something very similar to the role while also giving their own flavor to it and adding their own something,
Yeah, definitely. Well, when the release date for the game, when it's coming out and for what consoles?
That's will be coming out on October 5th for Xbox, Xbox One X, PS4, PS4 Pro, and PC.
All right, cool, man. Congrats. Great game, man.
Thank you very much.
Pre-order, and then you can play on October 2.
Oh, nice. Even better. All right, thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right, so that was the interview. Shout out to Ubisoft, and I'm going to talk more about the game later this week. So stay tuned here on Gamertag Radio. So let's talk about Blackout because the trailer just came out, and also Treyarch posted a blog post about the features in the game. And one of the things that we've always been talking about is it 100 players? Is it less than that? Or is it going to be more? And they finally announced that this beta, there is going to be 80 players online playing Blackout, which I think is fine. To me, that's perfect. 80 is good. And it's crazy because Battlefield is 64. This one is going to be 80. I think I was very surprised because I thought it was going to be around the same number of players, 64. But watching the trailer got me excited, man. You could play duels, squads, solo, of course. I think there's even moments where there's also zombies in the game while playing Blackout. Am I correct? Because I saw that in the trailer.
Yes,
See, right?
but the question is that part of the field that closes the zone, or is that a player enabled feature? Like, because I know in the trailer that we saw, character throws out the monkey, and the zombies showed up. So I don't think that they've unveiled how that's going to work out. I know that they said, like you said, 80 players are supported with a tease that it could increase in the future. So I think 80 might be. So there was a tease. I think 80 is going to be for the beta, but I think, and this is possibility. It's not founded in truth or anything, but I think what they're going to do is they're going to drop 80 just to see what the reaction, see how the servers act. Because again, this is a beta. They need to test. They need to make sure that things are not going to break day one, because this is a heavily anticipated mode for them, totally different for them.
And Pete, what you're excited because I know that on Twitter you were like, okay, Activision, okay, Treyarch,
you have my attention.
You got my attention. Yes,
you have my attention.
So So what was it? What was it, Pete? That you decided, okay, this is the game that definitely got to check out.
Well, it's again, it's different. One thing that I've been talking about since day one, when they mentioned that Call of Duty was going to have a BR mode, was how are they going to differentiate their battle royale offering from everybody else that has done it, whether you're Islands of Nine with your 77 people online right now on your servers, or you're the incumbent right now, which is Fortnite, or PUBG, which is tried and true with classically bad desync. How do you set yourself apart? And I think now seeing how, and again, these are sizzle reels. Sizzle reels are designed to hype you up. Got me. But seeing how the addition of vehicles, how land, air, and sea vehicles were going to work, the zombie thing caught me off guard. And I no matter what I've been looking for, I don't know, and I haven't been able to find how it's going to work out. Are they going to be something that a player uses? Like they find a crate with the monkey and they get zombies, or is it part of that first or second circle, or maybe it's the final circle where the zombies come in and they force all the players that are still out in the zone to come back in into the game thing. People are asking, will kill streaks be part of this battle royale? I think that might be a little unfair, and I hope it doesn't. I hope that that there are no kill streaks. I know that's the one thing that Call of Duty is synonymous with. That's the one thing that everybody loves Call of Duty for, is the ability to get 3, get 5, get 6, and then the more kills you stack up in a row, you throw in an airstrike. I think that might be a little overkill, and I hope it's not part of the Battle Royale, but they haven't really detailed that. We'll know next week. Actually, we'll know tomorrow.
Actually, this week.
Yeah, we'll know tomorrow because it drops tomorrow.
Are you going? You planning to play the PlayStation version?
No, I'm right here.
Well, I can't see. I don't know.
Keyboard and mouse, baby.
Oh, well, yeah. But that's going to come out when the Xbox version comes out at the same time. You have to wait later this week.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe that's going to be
the 14th.
PS4 is the 10th. Xbox and PC get it on the 14th, and then the PC Open beta starts on the 15th, and then it ends for everybody on the 17th. So,
all right, so Paris, are you planning to play the PlayStation 4 version of this?
Well, unfortunately, because I gave away my beta code, I think I'm gonna have to reach out to PR to see if I can get a code so I can play on the 10th. Because I just thought it would be like a separate thing, but it sounds like if you had that beta already, then you can play on the 10th, which I did not because I didn't keep my code. So I got to figure that out. So I'll reach out to PR on Monday and see if I can get access to it, because I for sure want to try it out. And it's funny because, like, Danny and I were going back and forth in chat, and I was joking around mostly, but when I watched that trailer, it seemed kind of cartoony to me, the sizzle reel. I almost thought they were trying to one up Fortnite with it, but then I listened to the Game Informer podcast because they got hands on with it. They played it, and they were adamant that this is not going for Fortnite at all. This is going after PUBG. That's who they're going after. They're trying to be the definitive, military battle royale shooter on console, and that it felt really good with a controller playing it, and it was a lot of fun. Right now it's 80 players, but they've tested going up to 100, but they're doing 80 for the beta. But one of the people on the show was adamant that this will be his battle royale mode of choice to play over PUBG and over Fortnite. He was having that much fun with it. So that got me excited. Because obviously the perception from the trailer, I gleaned something different. But again, I've been saying from the longest, I want to play it because I'm so curious about it. I want to get my hands on it and see exactly what it is. And the one thing that they were pointing out that they really enjoyed was the vehicles. The vehicle combat really shined in it. And like flying a helicopter wasn't overly complicated. It was very pick up and play to use, and just everything that goes with it. And to go into the one thing that Pete was saying with the kill streaks, I don't want kill streaks in it, but I could see where, like in PUBG, where you're in the red zone and they're dropping missiles and all that. I could see where it's limited to one area. So as long as you're not in that area, you're okay if they call in a kill streak, I guess. But again, we'll see. We'll see when it drops how they handle it, because like you said, kill streaks are a part of the Call of Duty experience. So I would like to see it in some form but not take away from the overall battle royale experience of what we come to expect, with something like PUBG. So again, my curiosity is at a 10 for this. I can't wait to get my hands on it.
So it's okay that this game is first person instead of third person for you guys?
It's fine. Something different.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be a complete clone of what PUBG is or what Fortnite is. I want this to be something different. I want the Battlefield one to be something different. I mean, there is room in this whole battle royale genre to try different things and not just be straight clones of the originals.
Yeah, I don't think it'll make a difference. I think because Call of Duty has always been traditionally first person, you won't see a third person view. I think that takes away from Call of Duty as a title, as a franchise in and of itself. So I don't see them modifying their game to offer both. If they do, that might be a benefit to everybody. They might just be their way of, trying to gather as many players as possible. It'll be curious to see how their unlocking of classic characters will work. I know that's something that they mentioned you'll be able to play. I'd love to be able to play as Price. You know what I mean? Going back to COD 4. How will that happen? Will there be progression between standard multiplayer and the zombie modes that carry over because you've spent more times on zombies? Does that give you anything? I don't know. The big thing for me is going to be kill streaks. How do they implement that, if at all, in this battle royale blackout mode? And then with the size of the map, we know at the original unveil they mentioned 1,500 times larger than Nuketown, and then Drifter, the YouTube guy, he did his thing, and apparently he was right. It just comes in just under the size of the Fortnite map, which is more than enough, right? You don't have to go the massive 8x8 like PUBG does. 4x4, 6x6, I think is what Fortnite is. It works. I would love 4x4 because it makes it more compact. You shove more people in, you get right into the action immediately, provided the loot spawn and RNG works in your favor. We'll be curious how that whole scavenging of equipment, armor, health will work. I know health won't automatically regen like in standard Call of Duty games, which will require you to either find your own heals or have teammates heal you if you're playing in a co-op or in a team-based version of it. So that's going to play a factor in it as well.
All right. Well, we're going to find out more about the beta later this week. So we're definitely going to be talking about it in a future episode of Gamer Tag Radio. All right. So we're going to wrap it up because this is going to be a very long episode of GTR. Shout out to everybody that's been downloading the podcast and sharing it. Thank you so much. Head over to gamertagradio.com, post your comments and feedback. You could also find us at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and other podcast directories. I know we have a lot of fan mail, but we're going to save that for a future episode of GTR. And that's it from me. What about you guys? You want to say anything else before we wrap it up?
Rest in peace, my Scuff Impact. I think I'm going to need to send it in for some maintenance.
No.
Thankfully, I have a backup. But I notice, I think this is just how much I've been playing lately, but I notice even when I swapped out the left joystick, when I'm pushing up, it seems to be sticking somehow. So I think it needs a tune up. So I think I'm going to hit up Scuff and see what I can do about sending in for a little tender love and care.
Yeah, rest in peace to my Xbox One X.
Any word on that?
It's pretty dead. I just sent it to Microsoft, so they're gonna repair it, and I'm getting it back in a few days. I just gotta wait. So right now I'm playing using my Xbox One S. That's how I've been playing Destiny and other games in there. So yeah,
cool.
No 4K for a while. It's all good.
It's not a requirement.
What about you, Pete?
Oh no, just shout out to Autonomous AI. Thank you. I bought a desk last week. It's a standing desk. Kind of went overboard on the size. It's like 72 inches, but it's amazing. I redid my office, and shout out to Noble Chairs for the chair. I will be doing a review. Should be coming out this week.
Awesome, man. Yeah, very quick. I want to say if you're still listening to the podcast and you want to help us out and either buy the Gamertag Radio t-shirts and so on, make sure to go to store.gamertagradio.com Or if you want to donate, go to donate.gamertagradio.com. That will help us out big time, man. All right. So until next week, or next time, actually, we're out. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Thank you for listening to Gamertag Radio. If you'd like to donate and help us out for future events and more coverage and also better audio equipment, head over to donate.gamertagradio.com. That's donate.gamertagradio.com. Thank you.